And then those young kids, they've played a real hard schedule. Those young kids, they've gotten a lot better.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Wednesday night. Got to get my head around this week. It's a little bit blurry right now. Good to be back with everybody. K-Mac, Pro, it's been a while since we've seen one another. Not much has changed. I think I've gotten a little bit better looking, a little bit lighter. K-Mac, you look a little older since the last time I saw you.
Gained a little bit of weight.
Have you really?
Older.
Did you put on a bunch of weight?
I haven't that I know of. It's my resolution every year to gain 15 pounds.
Well, I think you're working
drink
towards that.
more, and maybe pick up smoking.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. Pro, how are you?
Hanging in there, feeling good.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Jarmart's in the house.
I'm doing okay.
I don't
Just
really
okay.
care. Really care.
I've got a tie on today, though.
Just push the buttons and answer the phones. But I am happy that Carsonova is back from her extended holiday break and is completing the team. We feel whole now. The whole family is together.
we have to give Carson a congratulations. She's going to be working with.
She engaged?
No, I don't think so. That would be a. She better not be engaged.
Okay.
We're not. No one has asked our permission to marry Carson.
That's right. Got to come through the four of us.
But she will be working with MLB.com this summer, covering the Milwaukee Brewers. So we're very happy that she's going.
How's she going to cover the Milwaukee Brewers from here in Columbia?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
same way I used to follow Wisconsin.
Maybe she can make recruiting calls from the press box there.
How about that? Wow. Well, congratulations.
So she comes back after the dead period.
Yeah.
Is that what the deal is?
That'll work.
Okay.
That'll work. All right. Well, you know what? It's only the day after, so I think we can still talk about Clemson's win the other night for the national championship. I think the feeling is still lingering around the state of South Carolina. So if you could not get through last night, we'll take your calls on it tonight, 800-956-7266. We have a commitment from Will Merritt for 6:30. In fact, I think minutes after Clemson won, I had a message from Will about coming on the show. So he's good. Now, try to hit the Pastor Payne up a few times. He's not gotten back to me yet. So we'll continue to try to get him lined up for tonight as well. Hopefully the pastor's not hiding from us, not running from Big Will on this particular we want to have tonight on Sports Talk. So that's what we've got lined up for you, hopefully. 800-956-7266. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. I wonder, Clemson fans, how many times have you gone back and watched the game now since Monday night? On your DVR, your VCR, whatever you happen to use, YouTube, however
VCR,
you can access it.
I'm going to venture to say nobody has that game on their VCR.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't have some folks out there who still live off the VCR world. Oh, I would think so.
They still go to Blockbuster and rent movies on Friday night.
Are they still open? They probably go to Walgreens and get a movie out of those little boxes, little red box.
Those aren't VCR movies, though. Those aren't cassettes.
Well, you know what I mean.
DVDs.
Well, you know what I did? I punted. So one of the last purchases I made around my TV was buying one of those contraptions with the DVD on one side and the VCR on the other.
Oh, you got both.
Yeah.
The best of both worlds there.
Last night, it seemed like Clemson fans were still kind of in that euphoric state of disbelief, like they hadn't wrapped their brain around what had happened. Maybe they were still a little groggy from the late night and it all sinking in. I would imagine now it's kind of sinking in a little bit. I noticed there's a little more shots at the rival coming. There wasn't a lot of that yesterday. It was more just, I can't believe we won this thing. And now you're starting to see some of the back and forth, and the Gamecock fans are going to be on the receiving end of a lot of grief for a long time.
Yeah, until Clemson takes a backward step, or until the Gamecocks step up in a big way.
Well, remember this: Clemson won it in the '81 season, and 3 years later, South Carolina had a chance to play for a national championship. They lost to Navy,
but Clemson stayed good.
Yeah,
after winning the national championship. They continued to win ACC titles. They had to go through probation there for a couple of years, but they continued to win 9-10 games, win the ACC. but it was a different world then in terms of winning the national championship compared to how it's done today.
It's a different world completely, even in the ACC. But I still would tell South Carolina fans, this isn't the end. I talked to a Gamecock fan last night after the show, and he was like, that's
over.
it. That's it. I mean, I always was like, they're never going to win one, and I said, well, they had won one in 81. He's like, that was a lifetime ago. This was a guy that graduated from South Carolina the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I was like, how can you say that? I mean, South Carolina shouldn't just fold it up. I mean, they have an opportunity to still chase down Clemson. You don't have to look any farther than right up the road to see what they're doing. Copy it, emulate it. One of the reasons why Clemson won this championship, they should thank South Carolina. Those 5 straight wins that South Carolina had, that's when Clemson said, you know what? We're not going to let South Carolina pass us. What do we have to do? They started building their facilities more. They spent more on coaches. They weren't going to let it happen. It forced Clemson to start taking things serious in areas maybe that they weren't before. And South Carolina should do the exact same thing. I think they are to a certain degree with some of their facilities. I'm not saying they're not doing anything right over there, but their game day presentation, their social media, their recruiting, their staff, all of those things, they need to look at what Clemson's doing and don't be afraid to steal it and try to do it better.
Yeah, I think they're working in that direction. I mean, from a facilities, look, South Carolina is never going to have the cozy athletic facility arrangement that a school like Clemson or Auburn, Georgia, when you're set in a city like South Carolina is and your campus is built where it is, it can't happen that way. You just can't walk from one facility to the next. But they're working to make that whole area out there much more fan friendly and cozy and attractive from a football standpoint. In fact, from what I've heard, the Gamecock Park area received some kind of ranking or something as one of the best tailgate areas in the SEC now. The Grove at Ole Miss and things of that nature. So they're making that kind of progress, but that's all on the periphery. That's all on the periphery. You got to get the Jimmies and the Joes. As we saw when South Carolina had the run of 11-win seasons, look at that defense. They've had nobody since those guys left. They've been far away in terms of talent on defense compared to those guys.
Right. Just
far away.
Yeah.
They got to get back to getting those kind of players.
They got to find the next Jadeveon Clowney. That's going to be real easy. The next Marcus Lattimore.
There's a key point, and I think
they might have the next Marcus Lattimore.
I forgot what the coach
in Dowdle, yeah. I mean, if he gets a full season of work and stays healthy,
and is Bentley the next Connor Shaw? I think they have a great.
I don't see why you can't think of it that way.
You look at South Carolina next year going to Clemson. They're going to have a more experienced quarterback. They're going to have a more experienced running back. I'm not predicting the Gamecocks to win, but it's not all doom and gloom if you're South Carolina.
Shouldn't be.
Your program just a few years ago finished ranked 4th in the country. I mean, that was a program that would have been on the cusp of making the college football playoff under the current climate. So you can get there, and it wasn't 30 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Now it cratered because of well-documented things that went down at the end of the Spurrier regime, but you can get it back. You shouldn't just say that's it. Clemson they've still won 5 of the last 8 against Clemson.
And you got to find the talent to fit their system. I mean, how did Missouri win 2 East titles? They didn't do it they did it with recruiting, but none of their recruits.
Look at the defensive players they had on those teams, and we're seeing them
the front line,
and we're seeing those guys where in the NFL. All right, we'll be back. Dan Radakovich as well coming up after the top of the hour to talk about Clemson's celebration plans. Back in a moment. All right, welcome back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. On a Wednesday night from downtown Columbia, we are on Main Street simply because we are the sports talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. We invite you into the program tonight, and whether you are a Clemson fan or a Gamecock fan or a fan of another team in our state, we can all agree on one thing: Founders Federal Credit Union, with Founders' newest office coming soon to the Commons at Bull Street in Columbia, and a convenient Clemson office. Founders, it's a sure fan favorite. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union, it's federally insured by NCUA. All right, couple of quick notes and we'll get to phone calls. 800-956-7266. Will Merritt coming up. Maybe Corey Miller. Corey is he's hemming and hawing with me. He says he's got some work he's got to do. He's by himself over at Watch Fox 57. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to embarrass him enough to get him to join us tonight. So we shall see about that. Dan Radakovich, a little bit after 7. Recruiting coming up for you as well. So we got a lot of great stuff on the program tonight. A couple of quick notes out of Clemson. No surprise here. Mike Williams, Artavis Scott, both announcing that they are leaving for the NFL draft. Ben Boulware, among 12 players added to the roster for the Senior Bowl, and he has already signed with his professional agent, as has Jordan Leggett, a group out of Atlanta. Our friends at the Bovada Sportsbook tells us that percent of those, I guess, using their service on the national championship game took the spread and, of course, came away big winners.
Yep. And
the money line, 80% took the money line. And as this person who we talked to there told me, we took a bath.
Yeah, a lot of the sports books took a bath. They called it one of the worst losses in a game, certainly a college football game, championship game that they've ever had in Las Vegas. But I did check just to make sure. All of those casinos and sports books did open today.
Good.
So
Nice to hear.
I don't
They
think
did
they
not
went out
go
of business.
broke.
No.
Yeah.
But they lost a lot of money.
Whammy's got a new job. Lorenzo Ward will coach defensive backs at Louisville under Bobby Petrino.
And if you listen, that's the ACC Atlantic Division coaches, not at Louisville, cheering. Offensive coordinators all over the ACC are cheering. That was a low blow. That was a cheap shot.
There's nothing wrong with Lorenzo Ward as a
Over under
position
on the
coach.
distance that the defensive backs are going to play off the wide receivers.
Didn't
next
he coach the
season.
DB?
They
10 yards.
have very good DBs at Louisville. You know, they're among the nation leaders in interceptions. Very
Whammy's
good
a very
DBs.
good position coach. He coached some good
But
DBs
now,
at South Carolina.
There's going to be, this is kind of
And
interesting.
Virginia Tech, I think.
And Virginia Tech.
Mississippi,
Safeties.
well, you know, when Ellis Johnson took the job at South Carolina, one of his first things was he wanted Lorenzo Ward to coach his defensive backs.
I thought he wanted Charlie Harbison, and then he went to Lorenzo Ward.
Yeah, maybe you might be right.
Well,
might be right.
Then they talked about when he was suffering from that skin cancer. It was Lorenzo Ward that was with him a lot.
Yeah, they were together. They were together quite a bit. Also, Mississippi State and Louisville defensive coordinators, according to various reports and the such. Todd Grantham, who apparently coached his way out of a job at Louisville, is going to Mississippi State, and headed from Mississippi State to Louisville is Peter Sturman. If you look at it statistically, nationally, Louisville ranked number 8 in the FBS in yards per play allowed and number 31 in scoring defense. Not too bad. Mississippi State finished 103 in yards per play after ranking 44th in that category the previous year. Seems like Louisville's getting the better end of the stick there in terms of statistics.
I've never been a big Todd Grantham fan. I didn't think he's that great at Georgia. And he had a pretty good at Louisville, but they got torched pretty good in a few big games last year.
On that team too. What was the guy from Georgia, 6'3" safety that transferred to Louisville? He got hurt, and it seemed that defense started to
still remember Steve Spurrier calling him out after the South Carolina Georgia game when Marcus Lattimore had one of those big games, and he said that Todd Grantham apparently didn't learn how to stop the zone read in the NFL.
Chad Staggs, through the last 4 years, has done a great job as defensive coordinator at Charleston Southern. Has been named Furman's new defensive coordinator. Clay Hendricks announced that today. By the way, tomorrow night on Sports Talk, Jamie Chadwell will join us at 7:05 to talk about his move from Charleston Southern to Coastal Carolina. Jay Fry is stepping down as head football coach at Richland Northeast. He's been there 27 years, the last 19 as head coach. He led the team to 3 state Final Four appearances and to the state championship game in 4A Division II back in 2000. And followed out as an assistant. He was 126 and 104 at R&E. He won 5 region titles and made the playoffs 13 times. Boy, some great jobs are open in the Columbia area now. Richland Northeast, Blythewood, Camden, Lexington, and North Central. Jobs that remain open. And let's see. Basketball tonight. South Carolina is going to tip it off here in about 5 minutes at Tennessee. One of those 6:30 tips on the SEC
Chance
network.
to go 3-0.
Yes, USC trying to keep pace with. I think Florida went 3-0 last night, right? Didn't they win that game?
Yeah,
Florida and Kentucky are both 4-0.
They're both 4-0. Okay, I got to catch up with basketball here.
Yeah.
But so focused
Good
on
luck.
football. So we'll see how the Gamecocks do there in Tennessee. Tennessee, by the way, one of their their 6th man was didn't I see this dismissed from the team?
Yeah,
from the
drug
team.
paraphernalia.
That'll get you every time.
He was. I think he elected to go to the bench to come off the bench, and he was playing well, but I forgot his name. But yeah,
The old
he's
drug
gone.
paraphernalia.
And Carl Edwards is leaving, wants to go do some other things. He's had some concussion issues. He's 37. He won 28 races at the highest level. He did not close the door on returning, but he says he wants to go do some other things right now. So
No
great
more
personality,
backflips.
a great personality for the sport. very good with the media and a fantastic driver. He just missed winning 2 championships in his career, came up just short. So they are promoting Daniel Suarez on the Joe Gibbs team, who won the Xfinity Series championship. They're promoting him to the number 19 car. All right, to the phone calls we go. 800-956-7266. Short Run in Charlotte. I'm not sure how Short Run can handle the big rig after winning that championship the other night.
I don't do no more big rigs. I don't go down every Ponnet Dreams come to die no more.
Oh, okay.
Right here in Pineville, in the townhouse, living it up by the lake.
I hear you. Well, what'd you think of Monday night?
Oh, it was superb for the Tiger. Alabama didn't lost that game. Clemson won that game. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
With the power of Deshaun Watson. Superb. Well, one thing I want to bring to the table, I heard all the damn clock trying to knock us down, do all that. But anything, last time they beat Alabama, only thing they got was a T-shirt. Well, how about this national champion here? You feel me?
Yeah, what?
The last time they beat Alabama, only thing they got was a T-shirt.
Right.
And what about this national champion? Come on, Phil.
Yeah.
By the way, I called it, didn't I?
You did.
35-31, didn't I?
Did you stay 35-31?
I John Mark.
There should be a reward for you waiting somewhere if you called 35-31. I called it, what'd I say, 35-21.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit the number on Clemson.
I called Clemson winning 34-31.
I thought
Or 31-28.
31-28.
No, it's a big
31-28.
difference.
Not
'Cause
really.
I
I
said
was
30,
pretty.
28.
I
pretty
think
darn
being
close.
astute enough to hit the number on Clemson is pretty
In
remarkable.
terms of total point differential, if we were on, let's say, The Price is Right.
No, I think it's more impressive to hit the number of one of the
No,
teams.
I-
Just right on,
think,
no questions
No.
asked, hit right on
I
the number.
think it's more impressive to build the analogy that I said that it was going to be like the Giants.
All right, we got to hit a break. Be right back. Welcome back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Wednesday night, back in the studio. Good to have you with us wherever you are dialed in. If you're still stuck in traffic in Columbia, down in Charleston, up in Greenville, Spartanburg, over in Latta, the Cross Latta Expressway, I know gets backed up this time of day. Just take it easy. Be patient. Stay with us here on Sports Talk. Make sure you take us with us wherever you end up. Take us in your home, on your laptop, on your smartphone, on your iPad. Pull us up on our website. Use Chromecast to put us up on your screen and watch us live on our video feed. All kinds of ways to stay with us here on Sports Talk. You impressed by that, aren't you?
Very impressed.
You can have if you want to.
I have
Gadget
grudgingly
head over here.
advanced a little bit in the technology age here. So hack us, yeah.
We're high on his list.
Feel to hack us.
He's got
Okay.
some stuff on Cornblue. You think
Who is this?
Putin?
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard he's got
Putin.
some stuff on you.
Putin.
Yeah, your boy.
We got both? We shamed Corey into coming on board with us tonight. All right, the M&M boys. I know you've been waiting for this, folks, especially you Clemson fans. The M&M boys, they are with us together once again to talk about Monday nights and the Clemson championship. And so we welcome in on the Clemson side, former Tiger standout offensive lineman, a guy that used to eat defensive linemen for breakfast and then puke for lunch. It's Will Merritt. And on the Gamecock side and the other side, former USC star, NFL stalwart, somebody Earl Campbell could never plant, Corey Miller. First of all, Pastor of Payne, how are you?
I am doing excellent at work and cut some championship video as we speak.
Oh, and how's that video look to you?
Well, depends on what time of the game you ask me. If it's the first half, looks great. Second half, not so great.
All right, Will, I know you're bursting at the seams to say something.
How does it look with 1 second to go in the game? How does the film look then?
Oh, talking about that legal pick? So good.
I knew he'd come back because that's just like you, man. You can't admit it. Hey, listen, Corey. The good news is I've got some T-shirts being printed up just for you and for Cornblute and everybody in his entire staff, and I should have the production done within about 2 weeks, and it's going to be all the dumb things that you've said throughout the entire year. And I'm going to put that on the back, and then I'm going to put on the front. I'm just going to put, what now, Corey? What now? What you going to say now?
Oh, you've been waiting since that game to go here. Oh, for 35 years, you've been waiting. This happens to say, right? For 35 years, you've been waiting to say that.
Okay. Well, if you want me to go down your road, I could say 129 years, and
but we don't.
Can't say it.
You don't be bragging about it or coming up with false statements. I keep it real. Little brother. Congrats. Listen, let me.
Hey, a win.
Wait, Will. Oh, hang on. The word con. I heard con starting to come out of his mouth. So go ahead, Corey.
No, matter of fact, if you go back and check my feed, I congratulated Clemson right after that game was over. Twice, matter of fact, and told people that they deserve credit. Don't let that interfere, which it was, by the way. But you don't use that as an excuse. The game is what it is, and they made enough plays. One more play.
Corey, Dabo said after the game that actually the Alabama defensive back interfered with Clemson on that play.
Yeah, sure he did. Of course, I mean, it's Dabo. What do you expect? But if you look at it,
well, I'll tell you what he can say. He can say we're national champions. We're number one in the country. That's what he can say.
He can say that, and Alabama can say that 16 times. So I mean, they're not over that crying.
Oh, so now all of a sudden you play for Alabama, and you're an Alabama apologist.
I mean, so yeah, you can say.
Oh, so when South Carolina
Alabama
gets
can say
when South Carolina gets beat by half 100, you're a South Carolina apologist.
That's what they can say. So,
I tell you what you can say, Corey. One thing you can say is, I'm sorry, Will. You're right, and I'm wrong. You're handsome. I'm ugly. You're smart. I'm dumb. Those are all the things
that would be so
say.
false. That would be
No, that was
just so
if
far.
you're the pastor. You know, a pastor of pain has to speak truth. If you're going to be to biblical truth, let's go to the book of Proverbs and talk about a godly man always speaks the truth. Corey, I'm giving you the opportunity as the pastor of this show to speak truth right now and tell everybody
I'm
how
what they call
wrong
a
you
pastor
were
of
and how
realism.
right I am.
You know, well, I'm glad you could go for it. I mean, you know, you only get, matter of fact, you and I both probably be gone by the next time Clemson step a championship. So enjoy it. It should be the first living one that you enjoy it.
And by my calculation, I've got about 330 more days to be able to do this before I start apologizing again. And judging by the way that I live my life, I might have about 330 more minutes to live.
Happy for you.
I don't even know if I'm going to give this chance again.
I celebrated with my son a year ago, so and it won't be the last time. You know, so it's all good. I want you to celebrate.
All right,
all right.
All right, let me get some analysis here. I need some analysis here. First of all, Corey, what happened to Alabama on the last drive?
Analysis, don't start with Corey.
I want to get the Alabama side. I want to find out
why
Alabama's great defense.
Version.
Why did Alabama's great defense give up a 2-minute touchdown drive to Clemson?
Well, the problem is they were dog tired, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what happened in this ball game, I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Clemson defense, you got to give them credit because there's about 3 or 4 series where the offense of Alabama could not get first downs, and the defense was continuing to stop Clemson's offense. I knew right away if that continued to happen, you know, they're going to give up plays. They got sluggish, they got tired, and they get the pass rush that they needed to. And you know, when offense is that powerful, you can't be tired. You can't play 99 plays and expect to win a football game like that. And I put that on the offense, not so much of the defense. People want to say, well, the defense, but listen, when you're playing these spread offenses, you got to have breaks. You got to get off the field. And the offense is responsible for that creating some drives.
Spread half the time.
But you got to look at that first 2.5 quarters. They were crushing the offense. And then number 9, the close of both Scarborough got hurt was that was huge because he's the guy that really creates those first downs with that offense because they go to let's just win the game, let's control the football. But the bottom line is they were tired. They were tired, they were exhausted. Right. So that's no excuse. That's just what it is.
All right. Now, Will, you heard that? You know, what did you think?
Yeah, I heard.
What were your
tell
me what your emotions were in the last 5 minutes? Clemson goes ahead, Alabama goes ahead, and then Clemson wins.
Did you cry? Did you shed a tear?
Yeah, really.
No, I didn't shed it all night long. Other than I did get poked in the eye at one point in time. I think my eye duct got messed up a little bit, but no, I didn't shed a tear. But let me tell you something, Corey. You act like that running 99 plays was not part of the offensive game plan. Jeff Scott said earlier in the week, our goal is to run 90-plus plays because they knew that was going to be to their advantage. Yes, Alabama came out hitting them. And by the way, there were 2 targeting calls that were not even called in the beginning of the game. You want to say they weren't? Okay, fine. I don't care. Both of those players came back in, and guess what they did in the fourth quarter? They beat Alabama. There was a targeting call on the quarterback. There was a targeting call on Mike Williams. Neither one of them were called, and guess what? They shook it off. They came back in, and in the fourth quarter, they made plays when they had to make plays. And you can say whatever you want to, but you had a 5'0" tax attorney that was a walk-on football player take Alabama to the woodshed. Okay, and he's on the cover of Sports Illustrated catching a football game.
Now you better complete homer. I mean, because
so let me tell you something. All right, if you want real analysis about what happened, I'll tell you this. Do I get a chance to talk? Do I get a chance?
Yeah.
Do I get a chance?
Go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
You want real analysis?
All right, hang on. Time out. Hang on. We got to go to a break. We'll come back, and you can give the real analysis. I'm sorry, we got to go. Hang on. We'll come back. We'll get the real analysis, and then we'll talk about the future and where these programs are moving in 2017. Back in a moment.
that the Louisville Cardinals are going to win this ball game.
Shut down, and that is my bad
Today,
for 2 years. My bad. 0.1.
Go Sports Talk. I got a tie. Sports Talk, South Carolina.
Over and
all right. Well, you know what? That might be a good place to live for
NFF, yeah.
Oh, Banff, East Carolina, and Governor.
Work on the.
We're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Dan Radakovich coming up after the top of the hour here on Sports Talk. But back for a few more minutes to close it out with the M&M boys on Clemson's national championship. All right, Will, you were going to give us some analysis.
Yes,
you're going to give us your expert analysis on why Clemson won at the end of the day.
Well, those are poetic words. I'm sure that Corey wants to, close this whole series out against me. I'm sure that is a nice closeout. Let me just hit a couple of analysis words for you.
Okay.
You want to call what happened at the end of the play or a squeeze play. Some people call it a screen. Some people call it a push. Whatever. Every coach in the country knows what that is, and everybody runs that play, and everybody knows what's going to happen. So for the fact that everybody wants to gripe and complain about that is comical to me. Let me talk to you about where the game was won and where it was lost. Okay? Where it was won for Clemson, in my opinion, is that they had more weapons on offense that Alabama could defend on defense. Now, Alabama's defense is unbelievable. I've never seen a defense that can fly around like they do. I've never seen a defensive line and a linebacking core and a free safeties that could come up and do what they did. Clemson, did they wear them down? Absolutely they did. But I've never seen Clemson be able to matching to the tight end, being able to go one-on-one in coverage and not be covered because Alabama was gassed. Now, do you want to go to the coaching staff? You want to go to the strength staff? You want what? How far do you want to go down this list of making excuses of why Clemson won the ball game versus Alabama? At the end of the day, Clemson made plays and Alabama didn't. So if you want about where Clemson won the ball game, it's they had stamina, they had Deshaun Watson, and that actually did some things that Brent Venables dialed up that nobody saw that he was going to do. And that is completely, I'm not going to talk about that, but it was completely off scripted that he did. And he's going to do it continually in the future. So, Corey, listen, I agree with half of what you're saying. I just disagree with how you're saying it because you're trying to say it in a way that is not giving Clemson credit for understanding they knew that's what they had to do to beat Alabama, and yet they did it, and that's why they're national champions.
Pastor?
Well, I mean, I don't know what he dialed up, but I'm just telling you, when you play 99 plays, you're going to make mistakes. And again, when you look at
and they knew they were going to do that.
I understand that, but my point was just simply because the offense. If you go back and listen, I said give Clemson defense credit because they were able to get them off the field. Had not, then that's a different ball game because that's been the MO for Alabama all season long. They want to get you in the position so they can pound and run out the clock. They can put number 9, 34 in there, and they just pound you. Well, they couldn't do that because Clemson has a team to get them off the field, so that tired out the defense.
No, the MO for Alabama all year has been their defense has scored points. Their defense has always been able to score points.
They create turnovers with, but that don't happen every
And Clemson did not let them score
every
points.
Single game, and the
won.
MO has nothing to do with the defense scoring points. The point is, if you can control the clock, if number 9 hadn't got hurt, this is a different ball game. Give Clemson credit. They did what they had to do to win. Nobody's making excuses here, but for any football mind to tell you, I've been in many games. If you're playing over 70 plays as a defensive player, you're probably going to be in a lot of trouble.
All right.
So put an asterisk by that because that's the greatest excuse I've ever heard of a loser talking about somebody else winning a game.
If
so-and-so haven't gotten hurt, how many times has
Corey
Miller said we can't predict injuries?
In Dabo, you trust, congratulations, you won the trophy, be happy about it, and move on. I don't have to sit here and defend the University of Alabama. They got 16.
But what are you doing?
They
what are you doing?
Understanding of college
all right. Let me ask you this. Let me ask. All right. Let me ask.
Makeup. That's what you are.
Let me ask.
And guess what? Everywhere you turn with me, you lose.
You take it, you be happy.
Everywhere you turn with me, you lose.
Accept it.
All right, let me ask you both this.
Corey, everywhere you turn with me, you lose.
We got 3 minutes. I want to ask you both this. Now, do we have a program at Clemson that can sustain what it accomplished? We know at Alabama, they've just plug in new players and they're right back. Corey, is Alabama going to be back next year? Is Clemson going to be back in the same situation next year?
Well, I think Alabama has the best chance to be back. Absolutely. Because they return on offense, and with Sarkisian, I think you'll see a different offense next season. The defense loses some good football players. I mean, you lose some good football players. I don't know if they beat that defense that they were last year. I can tell you they have a lot of really good football players coming back. Clemson, for me, is about number 4. I mean, you lose a guy that's a winner and competitor, and that's what this team has been about. They've had a lot of great players. The C.J. Stills, you go down to Jacoby Ford, but they could Taj Boyd, but they couldn't win big games. Deshaun Watson won big games, and he was the X factor for this football team. When you lose that along with Mike Williams, Tavis Scott, Clemson's all-time leading receiver, Wayne Gallman, who's probably the most underrated player that they have on the football field. You're losing those types of players. I don't see them. No way they come back and be the type of team. Will they get there again with the way they recruit? Probably yes, but not next season. I don't see Clemson right now. And you look at who the opposing team, absolutely nothing. You see Clemson 5 and we're 5-10. But I think when you look at what Alabama has coming back, a young, good quarterback that's playing on the biggest stage, going to learn, going to get better. I like their chances more so than I like Clemson to get back to the Final Four.
Well, Phil, first of all, you're going to have to give us more time than this, but I will tell you this. Okay, Corey, I love your spin tactic about how you take every single player and you talk about their goodness, but then you talk about the fact that they're not going to be there, or the fact that they're not there and they're going to be there. Listen, I don't. Everybody said that about Clemson. Is it my turn or your turn? Is it my turn or your turn?
Question. It's always my turn, but go ahead.
Well, I disagree, because after Monday night, I think it's my turn. Honestly,
1 minute, Will.
And after
1 minute.
After November, I think it's my turn.
1 minute left in the period.
I will tell you this: everybody said Clemson wasn't going to be back this year, and we came back. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that not right?
Correct.
Everybody said they're not going to be back. Oh, but they got back there and they won. I'm sick and tired of hearing you can't replace players. If you recruit well, you replace players. I understand there are great players that come through the program. I understand what Corey just said about the CJs and Jacobys, and I don't even know where he just went with the Taj boys and not winning big ball games. Are you freaking kidding me? But, it doesn't matter to me. You still recruit great players, and there becomes another year, and that great player is then matured.
But, come on now. If you don't agree with me, nothing else, you got to agree. When have you had a Deshaun Watson come through there? When have you had a Deshaun Watson come through your program? You got good quarterbacks, but Deshaun Watson.
You know what? I don't even get to
give
talk.
Him his credit. Give him his credit.
I'm sorry.
30 seconds.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that I don't even get to talk.
30 seconds.
When you're on the radio.
30.
You're back because you don't have a Deshaun Watson. You can
Corey, give Will the last 20 seconds. Give Will the last 20 seconds. Go, Will. Go, Will. 20 seconds, Will.
Right. You're right. We don't have a Deshaun Watson. We don't know who we have next. We didn't know we have a Deshaun Watson back in 2012. We didn't know we had them. So who do we know? I will tell you this. If the foundation is built correctly, then you go recruit great players. And I know that they're recruiting great players today. I'm talking to the coaches about it today. So I know they're doing that. So don't give me this bull crap about you can't have another great player. And, I got a lot more to say, but you know what, Corey, you took all my time. So there you go. I submit to the pastor.
Guys.
Hey, well, you're a great man. Congratulations, buddy.
Guys, you're both great people. You're both great people. We love both of you. We hope that you enjoy the off season as much as we're season with you. And I hope you'll come back next year. Will, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Corey.
Roll damn tide.
All right. The M&M boys. Can't wait to have them back with us next September. Will Merritt and the pastor of pain, Corey. Top of the hour break. We'll be back.
from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblum and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Thanks again to Will Merritt and Corey Miller for providing us insight and entertainment for about the last half hour. Comes no better than that. In Knoxville, USC leading Tennessee 24-11, 5:12 to go in the first half. Thornwell's got 6, Dozier 5 for the Gamecocks, who are shooting 43%, but Tennessee's only shooting 21%. They're 4 of 19 from the floor. So USC getting it done defensively and enough on offense. They're only shooting 43%. All right. Big Saturday coming up at Clemson. Dan Radakovich, the Tigers athletics director, joins us. We really appreciate it because I know Dan Rad and all the people around Clemson probably going crazy, piecing everything together. We appreciate him taking a couple of minutes out of his time to join us. First of all, congratulations. How are you feeling a couple of days after the big night?
Well, thank you, Phil. It's great to be on the show with you. I'm sure that Will and Corey were very entertaining. It's a hard act to follow.
Yeah, don't try to match them in humor, okay? You just stay yourself.
Exactly. It's going to be right. This is going to be a 5-iron right down the middle of the fairway.
There you go. But how are you feeling now after a couple of nights and it's kind of soaked in?
Well, Phil, it's a fantastic feeling, and we're feeling great in the athletic department. I know the football guys are just still on cloud 9, and the whole Clemson family and community are really enjoying this. Having waited 35 years since the last championship. I mean, I saw so many people who just had smiles, tears in their eyes. It was just so gratifying to be able to see what this football team has been able to do to bring our community and our university and our whole state to a degree together. And we're very, very happy about that.
Tell me about the last 5 minutes of the game for you. Where were you and what emotions were going through your head as you watched the last 5 minutes?
Because we had to be down on the field with 5 minutes to go. That's kind of one of the things they want the athletic director to do. So after we had scored, we made our way down the field. Alabama, the last thing I saw when I was moving past a concession stand to get onto the field was it was 3rd and 16 for Alabama. They, of course, got it to a 4th and 1, made it, and then a couple plays later they scored. And it was so interesting being on the sideline because there was no panic. There was no heads being dropped. They knew that we had a couple of minutes left, 2 timeouts, I believe, and the best player in college football receiving the snap. So there was a lot of confidence on that sideline, and Deshaun and the offense and the coaches, they certainly delivered. And that little guy, 13, Renfro, he did a pretty good job too.
Boy, he did. He's something else. Not only that, let's don't forget the tackle he made to save a touchdown, which turned out to be huge.
Well, that certainly, I was, in the stands, when that happened, and it was one of those moments where you just kind of cataloged it and said, Alabama, during the month of November, their defense scored every game. Mm-hmm. Their defense outscored the opponents that they were playing. So they're obviously one of those teams with special teams and defense. When they get a score there, they're very, very difficult to beat. So what Hunter did on that play was just amazing, and certainly allowed us to keep that to I believe it was a field goal they got out of that exchange, and that certainly helped us as we went through the rest of the game.
And I know you have a lot of pride in your own son as a walk-on, and he even had his name introduced to the crowd by the official, unfortunately.
He did, and we're having an awful lot of fun with that. But he's had a great experience. As you know, Phil, he played 3 years at Mercer University and graduated early. Very proud of that. And Dabo and his staff had got to know him, and
his opportunity to come and play his last year of eligibility at Clemson was extremely special for myself, and certainly actually to see some Clemson games this year rather than running back and forth to Macon, Georgia.
Absolutely. And he probably, didn't do anything wrong on that play, if you ask me, from looking at the replay.
It was, you know how the officials are sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Now, what do you guys have planned to celebrate this thing with your fans and honor the team moving forward?
Well, we're going to have a great celebration on Saturday morning. We're going to have a parade that'll begin in downtown Clemson at 9 o'clock in the morning. It'll kind of go up College Avenue and hit Highway 93 and go down 93 to Centennial Boulevard, and head to the stadium, up the Avenue of Champions, and end up at Gate 5. There'll be the gates open at Memorial Stadium at 7 o'clock. The fans who are in the stadium early can watch the parade from there. The in-stadium celebration starts at 10:30, and we'll have that all wrapped up and completed by 11:30 because we have a basketball game against the University of Virginia at noon. So as you could imagine, there'll be some really limited parking opportunities around campus, but I know our fans are incredibly resourceful. We'll have some of the lots that'll be open around campus, and we'll have a full communication that'll come out in the next 24 hours to talk about that. Some of our satellite locations that were utilized this year, New Spring Church, Seneca Creek Meadow, we'll run some shuttles there, as well as some areas out very close to Highway 76. So it's going to be an incredible Saturday morning celebrating the team. Coach Sweeney, President Clements, Bill Hancock from the College Football Playoff Committee will be here. He will be presenting the trophy. We'll have Deshaun and Ben, some other student athletes will be speaking. So it's a regular Saturday on the lot of activities going on, but we're going to try to shoehorn in a really incredible celebration of the 2016 national champion.
You have any idea what kind of crowd to expect inside the stadium?
I would. It's hard to say. I mean, a year ago when Dabo had the pizza party after the ACC championship, there was about 25,000 people there. I'm sure we'll get that many, maybe a few more. But for those who can't make it, we're going to stream it live on ClemsonTigers.com. It's going to be, there'll be a lot of video and footage live, and certainly tape delayed of this incredible event.
Where will the trophy take up its permanent home?
Well, come February, we're going to be opening the new Football Operations Center, and I know that they've kind of reserved this space for the national championship trophy. During the planning process, they kind of put that into the plans. That space will be occupied come February.
Very good. Will that be in an area that the fans can get into any given day that they come by?
Phil, to be honest with you, we haven't got to that point yet. I think that there'll be some opportunities certainly for folks to come through that part of the building. They may be more controlled than each and every day, but those opportunities will certainly exist.
Are you still pinching yourself? Do you believe that this day under your watch has happened, or did you expect it at some point in time?
Well, if you spend some time around Coach Sweeney, you know that if you dream it, you believe it. And, I'm just such a great fan of his and how he runs his operation. And it was probably a couple of years in that I came home one night. I told my wife, I said, I think it's going to happen here. I really, really do. And not because of anything that was done during my administration, but Terry Don Phillips and the things that he did, certainly hiring Dabo, creating a really good foundation. And then what we tried to do is just help Dabo execute his vision. I think that's what athletic administrators try to do, is give coaches resources and student athletes resources to be the best they can be. And some incredible work by IPTAY and our donors allowed us.
Dan Wright, I got to jump in real
forward.
quick. Hang on. We'll come right back to you. Be right back.
Sure.
Okay, we're back. A couple more minutes with Dan Radakovich, then we'll get back to your phone call. Sorry about that, Dan Rad. You know how these to finish the statement you were making there as we hit the break, though, as you were talking about how all this kind of came together.
Sure. I think I was talking a little bit about our fundraising organization, IPTAY. I mean, a few years ago, we decided to pull together a program called Cornerstone Partners. Been incredibly successful. People who've helped us build the facilities that we're building and also impact our programs in a number of different ways. So all those things came together in order for us to help support the football program and other programs that we have within the athletic department. So very, very thankful to those IPTAY donors who continue to just be amazing for us in giving of their donations and also certainly buying season tickets.
Now, what do you think a championship will do in terms of adding to the enrollment of IPTAY and adding to the donations moving forward?
Well, we really hope that it continues to move ahead. We've had upwards of 15,000 IPTAY donors, and certainly there's room on this bandwagon for more.
Mm-hmm.
And we would love to have more IPTAY members. Thing as we get into the football season ticket area, they're going to be really is going to be an IPTAY member to get some season tickets, and I know people will want to do that. So the success of the program continues to move forward and certainly help grow our program.
One of the best recruiting tools, as you well know, is for the regular student is a school with a robust athletic program. Are you going to keep an eye on the applications to Clemson regular students to just let the administration know we're one of the recruiting tools for the student body as well?
Well, certainly the university knows that. President Clements is acutely aware of the fact that the athletic program certainly helps out those things. The last couple of years, we've set university records for the number of applications. And what that does is really allow some greater selectivity by the admissions folks. And yes, it's going to be something we continually remind folks that athletics is the marketing arm of the university. And it's something that we're proud of. It's something that's one of our missions. We exist to create events that allow the university to be showcased. So we take that role very seriously.
All right, now to the ugly side, the business side, and of course, you guys have been always very generous with your money and your contracts with your football coaches, and I know there are bonuses written in and all that kind of stuff. But just in the future here, as a result of winning a national championship, you foresee having to reduce some things with Dabo and his contract, or how do you approach that, or how does he approach that?
Well, one of the things first that we'll do is look at the assistant coaches' contracts, and that's one of the things that Dabo and I will talk about, because there's kind of is first on the list, and then we'll sit down and we'll talk about his situation. We redid his contract a year ago after the title game appearance, and put in some significant bonus opportunities for him and a very, very good contract. But I'm sure at the right time we'll sit down and see where we may need to go.
But do you have the feeling from knowing him and everything that's going on with him building his new home and everything there at Clemson where his kids are, I mean, you feel like you have a life, and that's probably something that's very rare in any sport today, where it fits so well that one side and you want to stay. Are you in that rare situation where you think you have a lifer as head coach?
Well, we certainly hope so, because I think, Dabo embodies all the things that we want in a head coach as a person. He and Kathleen and their family are incredible for the community. Certainly they have done a great job and dropped some significant roots, in the Clemson community. I think, Phil, it's where you have to make sure that everything, continues to work for you so that you can be successful at your chosen profession. So to continue to make sure that we provide the resources and things to allow our football program to be successful. And if all those things happen, I don't think that there's a better place in America for Dabo to coach football than Clemson University.
All right, last thing, we'll let you go. With the new fabulous operations building opening up, with the work that you've done at the West Zone, the Oculus, and everything you've done around Death Valley, what can you do next? I mean, do you have anything left on the drawing board to add or improve that you think will take this football program even higher?
Well, we have to continue to make sure that the game day experience is positive. So, they may not be as big as the West Zone and the Oculus and the stadium suites and the club. But there's some opportunities going down the road where we may need to look at some things in and around the stadium to make sure that people who come and experience Clemson football leave there saying, wow, that was a great experience. So may not be to that level, but there's certainly a ton of things that we can do to continue to make the game day experience a positive one.
Well, my only suggestion would be get some dynamite and flatten at least one of the hill parking lots. We'll have a flat walk to the stadium. That's my only request. There's just...
Well, we'll see what we can do there. Maybe we can put a little escalator there. For you.
I like that idea.
Charge like $1 a ride. You could really make some money. People would pay big money to get a ride.
That would be great.
Hey, Dan Rad, we appreciate it. Congratulations once again. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you again. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Phil. You guys take care.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye. Dan Radakovich, athletic director at Clemson, and they've got a big celebration plan for Saturday. If you're a Clemson fan, you're planning to go, you heard the details right there, from the AD. Sounds like they'll have a well-planned out parade and gathering in the stadium and get it all done in time for those who want to go to the basketball game to get over there and get the traffic out.
And pack that new Lil John. That's a tough matchup, but they can beat Virginia. I think Clemson can beat Virginia.
South Carolina, by the way, it's gotten tighter, 27-21 at
Look
halftime.
at the fouls. Look at the foul trouble for the Gamecocks. Thornwell has 2.
Mm-hmm.
Felder has 2.
Mm-hmm.
Blanton has 3 in 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Kotsar has 2. Silva has 2.
Wow, Silva walks in with 2.
Right.
Silva
played 4 minutes, picked up 2 fouls. Kotsar 8 minutes, picked up 2 fouls. Thornwell had 2. He played 13 out of the 20 minutes. But
Tennessee's only got 6 field goals.
Well, see,
but they've got 9 points from the line.
But we know how Rick Barnes coaches. Now, I don't think he has a player taller than 6'7". All of them drive to the basket. They force the official. They want whistles, and that's the way they play.
Well, 9-0 run to end the half. USC obviously didn't score for the last 4 minutes and 41 seconds. Had 3 turnovers during that time. 0 for 9 to end the half for USC. Not good.
I imagine if you listen really hard, you can hear Frank Martin talking to his team right now, very softly.
I'm not sure you want to hear what Frank Martin
very softly in the locker room.
Do we want to go ahead and squeeze in a call here before we hit the next break, Jar March? Okay. He nonchalantly says, let's go to Shane and Kershaw. Hello, Shane. Welcome in. Thank you for waiting. Hey.
Shane, put the phone down.
Shane.
I called last night, and I want to thank y'all. I wanted to request the Eminem boys. Let's come on one more time, because when Corey elbowed me in the meat section in 1987, he said,
you missed it.
Did you suffer, Shane, did you suffer a concussion from that elbow?
Are you in the protocol?
Phil, I am still suffering, my friend.
Yeah.
Because he was a big man. I was about 5'11" and a half and 160 pounds.
Well, he was on. They were on at 6:30.
Oh yeah, I heard him.
Oh, you did hear him? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling. Yeah, that's why I'm calling back.
Okay.
And I was a 165-pound white boy, and I said, he said, quit whining, punk. Because I didn't say nothing, because I ain't stupid.
Right.
But I said, one day I want to hear him whine. And by George, it took many, many years, but I finally heard him whine. Thank goodness y'all got him back on.
You got your satisfaction. You got even. You're even now.
Took you a while.
Took an elbow to the ribs, probably cracked your ribs, gave you a concussion, and now you're even. Thank you. Thank you for that. Break is coming up. Recruiting is coming up. More calls is coming up as well. We'll be right back. It's Sports Talk here on a Wednesday night. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. More of your phone calls certainly welcomed, and we'll get to more calls coming up. We're also going to get to recruiting here in just a couple of minutes. You know, now the dead period ends tomorrow, so coaches will be out and about trying to fill up those classes and find those players who can take them to the national championship. And we'll be on top of all that for you moving forward. Right now, before we get to recruiting, I want to welcome in Ben Bounds, the Vice President of Business Development and Marketing for the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. The deadline for voting on this year's class is coming up. Ben?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. And give us the details now for listeners around the state who have not voted yet, how they can get to that.
Yes, sir. Well, this is our fifth anniversary induction class for the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame, so it's a big one for us. The deadline, as you said, is this Sunday night at midnight, and the only way to vote is to log on to scfootballhof.org and sign up and cast your vote. You'll get to vote for 4 players or 4 former players and coaches of your choice out of our 15 finalists. We've got a very impressive finalist list this year, and we're stoked about it. And our participation is up a good bit from last year. We're over 100 votes in already, and we think it's shaping up to be one of our best classes, if not our best class yet.
Now, this voting and this voting alone selects the winners. I mean, or do you have? Is this just a part of the overall selection process?
This is the final. The voting started back in October. There was the first round. There were 50 original candidates, and that first round voting ended on December 15th. And then we got it down to our 15 finalists that we have now. And so people have had a month to vote for these finalists. But even if you missed the first round, that doesn't mean you can't vote this round. As long as you join before midnight this Sunday, you can cast your vote for your 4 favorite former players or coaches for the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame.
And so the fans, they have a say. They're the ones who are picking these guys. That's terrific. When will you announce the class?
The class will probably be announced sometime in mid to late February, and then we will have our induction ceremony in Greenville on Thursday, April 20th.
Okay. That sounds good. And I know it's a terrific list of 15, the finalists. You have a real good group to choose from. It's hard. I mean, I vote in this thing every year, and it's hard to decide between, especially when you get to that last one, what makes this guy better than the rest. So it's a struggle, isn't it?
It is. And, this is my first year with the organization. So it was not, and it was tough for me in that first round, and even tougher. I'm going to hold my vote probably until Sunday, just because I want to kind of see, where everything is at. But I'm excited about it. We have a great event coming up April 20th, and tickets are actually on sale at the website at scfootballhof.org right now to sign up to either get your seat at the induction ceremony, or you can play in our golf tournament earlier that day, or you can participate in our sporting clay riflery tournament that's also that same day. So we have a lot going on that day. There'll be a lot of celebrities at each event. A lot of our inductees and nominees will be there, as well as, just members of the South Carolina football elite, if you will be participating in each event. So it's a big week for us in April, but we can't get there until we get the vote all wrapped up this weekend. So we strongly urge anyone who is passionate about South Carolina football and has an interest in our 14 universities that have football programs to log on, join, and cast your vote before Sunday at midnight. And again, that website is scfootballhof.org.
It was our pleasure to be there last year for the ceremony, and we'll be there again this year. And I know you had Michael Dean Perry come in and speak, or he was there in attendance last year. Do you have somebody along those lines already lined up, or is it too soon to make those plans?
Well, we do have a couple people lined up, and but it's certainly premature for me to discuss who will be there. But we're going all out this year. We're expecting a really big turnout of our celebrities and our football elite. We think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we really do encourage people to come out and participate in either the golf tournament or the sporting clay event that afternoon. It's going to be well, I guess they get started that morning, but it really is a good time. It's fun any chance you get to attend a nonprofit, a fundraiser with celebrities, and either play golf or shoot skeet or something like that. I mean, that's a big deal, and something that there aren't a lot of opportunities like that throughout the year in the state of South Carolina. So we really think it's a special event, and we really hope we get a lot of participation, not just from the upstate, but statewide.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ben, we appreciate it, and we'll look forward to talking to you again and look forward to the announcement of this year's class coming up in a few weeks.
Absolutely, and as soon as we're ready to announce.
Take care. Ben Bounds, Vice President, Business Development and Marketing, South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. No, I'm going to do recruiting, and then we'll get back to the phone calls. Of recruiting here long enough. I can't stand it because now recruiting becomes
on Facebook.
What are you doing?
Your Facebook living this recruiting segment.
You're doing Facebook Live?
Yeah, I'm just trying it out.
How's it doing? How's it going so far?
So far, it is going
How do I look? How do I look?
You look a little rough.
Yeah.
You need to sleep a little bit more, I think.
Gosh, am I worn out?
I think you need a nap.
I have
Drink some of that coffee
I
over
am worn out, and I have put on about 80 pounds, I think.
Wow.
That's all? Oh, we're about to run out of time.
All right, let's do recruiting here very quickly. Defensive end, Jalen Twyman of Washington will make his first ever visit to USC this weekend. Official visit, being recruited by defensive line coach Lance Thompson. The two are in regular contact, coming down with his mom and some members of the family. Looking forward to seeing the school, seeing if he gets that feeling, that love from the team, from the coaches and the players. And he is also going to visit Missouri January 20th. He's already been to Pittsburgh. There is not a leader this season, 91 tackles, 8 sacks, and 1 interception. Running back Caleb Kinlaw told us this evening he expects to be at USC Friday. He's the junior college transfer gone out of Goose Creek and out of Wisconsin. He is supposed to hear back from the school tomorrow, just waiting on the go-ahead academically, getting accepted so that he can join the program. Offensive lineman Tony Gray of Loganville, Georgia, with new USC offensive line coach Eric Wolford. He is scheduled to visit this weekend at USC and Florida next weekend. USC target offensive lineman Jordan Tucker of Roswell, Georgia, has switched his official for this weekend to North Carolina from Louisville. He is still considering the Cardinals. He is scheduled to visit USC. USC commitment Keyshawn Bryan of Fort Lauderdale was offered this week by Oregon State. He's a running back. And despite reports that USC is not taking another scholarship running back for this class and the fact that he hasn't heard from USC in weeks, Bryan said he is not decommitting. Well, this is I don't know what's going to happen in this situation. I'm just following what mystery. The kid is saying. Yep. USC commitment defensive back Zay Brown told SEC Country he will visit Arkansas State on January 21 and USC the last weekend of January. Per Gamecock Central, defensive end Devontae Wyatt moved his official to USC this weekend, and defensive end Robert Beal also is due in this weekend. Athlete Tansy Richardson of South Aiken has set January 27th for his commitment announcement. His top 6 of USC, Indiana, Georgia State, Ole Miss, Maryland, and Colorado State, though I don't think the Gamecocks are really recruiting him right now. Running back Chris Colburn of Dutch Fork committed to Limestone. Blythewood linebacker Michael Brown to the Citadel. Former Blythewood defensive back Chris Ham is leaving Presbyterian after redshirting as a freshman and transferring to Georgia Military to reopen his recruiting. He hopes to land offers from Power 5 conference schools. A couple of more recruiting notes coming up after the break. right, let me wrap up the recruiting report. Ben Lippen quarterback Patrick McClure still looking at possible walk-on opportunities at USC and Georgia. He said both programs have been watching film of him, and he hopes to hear something from those two soon. Virginia Tech and Western Carolina have offered. USC today offered 2018 defensive back Trey Douglas of McDonough, Georgia, and 2018 quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson of Las Vegas, who, when he tweeted that out, said something about South Carolina being his home state. And I was trying to recall where he's from in South Carolina, but I don't recall it, but happy to get the offer from the Gamecocks. All right, there you go with recruiting for now. Don't forget to check it regularly on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. You know, we're always posting stuff there. And we are also, of course, putting stuff on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. If you haven't signed up to follow us on Twitter, make sure you do so you can keep up with it. We share our information that other people who follow recruiting put out. And that way you informed sports fan, recruit nut out there. And as we move towards signing day, which is 3 weeks from today, right? What's today? Today is a Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes.
The what? Today is so next Wednesday would be the 18th. Mm-hmm. That's 1 week. Week 25th. After that will be 25th. Yeah, 3 weeks from today will be the signing day. K-Mac, I know you always celebrate signing day.
Yeah, I usually celebrate by not doing the show.
I celebrate the guys who
by drinking heavily, right?
Well, that's every night. But
yeah,
I celebrate when the guys hold out, like Clowney did a couple of weeks.
That was miserable. That was
the Clowney watch.
But we had a great theme for that. It was what was it? South Carolina held hostage, or we did something like that. Sports fans held hostage. Dun 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 dun. The Jadeveon Clowney update each night.
Hey, he's starting to. Speaking of Clowney,
yes,
starting to look like the Clowney that we saw at South Point High School and at South Carolina.
Yeah, that interception the other day was
vintage Clowney.
People
fantastic.
Don't understand how amazing that recovery is. A lot of guys' knees never the same after having that surgery.
Well, he showed his skill on that tip pass and that interception.
Never understood the people that questioned whether he was committed to football.
Yeah,
just never saw that.
All right, update. USC leading Tennessee 34-27. Tennessee on a 6-0 run after the Gamecocks got off to a good start in the second half. Thornwell's got 8. Evans has got 7. Dozier with 5. Silva with 4. He's now got 3 fouls. And Blanton still has his 3 fouls. USC at 35%, Tennessee at 29%. Tennessee still has not hit double digits on field goals, but they do have 11 points from the line. That's the only thing that's keeping them close. They are 11 of 18 from the line. USC has taken 5 free throws, and Tennessee has taken 18 free throws. The game whistled for 17 fouls. The Vols for 11 fouls, but this is big. 18 turnovers. 18 turnovers for Tennessee, 16 for USC.
That's a lot. Now South Carolina
34 turnovers.
Yeah, turned over Texas A&M 25 times. They only had 6. And by the way, Chris Silva 6 minutes, 3 fouls now. So he came right back out there and picked up where he left off.
This is the game he's going to get fouls, because I told you, Rick Barnes uglies up the game. Everybody goes to the board and just hear the echo of the whistle, because that's the way they play.
Between Tamarcus Blanton and Chris Silva, they played a total of 12 minutes and have 6 fouls. That's not easy to do.
The Gamecocks have 9 steals on the night. Points off turnovers, 15 for USC, 10 for Tennessee. Rebounding, USC's up 2, 27-25. And again, now it's 35-27, USC leading at Tennessee. Gamecocks trying to go 3-0. And if they go 3-0, Frank Martin will certainly relax for a couple of days. And you know what? You can relax on and off the court with Founders Federal Credit Union, located in the heart of downtown Columbia, less than 2 miles from USC. The new Founders location at the Commons at Bull Street, opening soon, will help you with all your financial needs. Plus, you can visit the on-campus ATM, full-service Russell House office and cash check accepting ATM at ATM Row. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
We have some other basketball action tonight in the Big South. Winthrop leading Presbyterian 56-38 with about 11 minutes to go in that ball game. And I think we have one score, Southern Conference, and the Citadel trailing Chattanooga 46-38. That's up in Tennessee.
You have Charleston Southern and Radford too, and the Bucks up 6 midway through the first half.
All right, Charleston Southern today did announce that they have promoted Mark Tucker to the position of head football coach. He had been the school's quarterback's coach, and he replaces, of course, Jamie Chadwell. Jamie
bizarre
will be with us tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Tucker is 50, becomes the 4th coach in Charleston Southern history. He's a Charleston native, and he was Chadwell's coach at East Tennessee State, and he was an assistant at the Citadel in the 1990s.
I'm not saying it's a bad hire by any stretch. I don't know, but they didn't interview anybody else.
No, they moved quickly. They
just
moved quickly.
Brought him. So the defensive coordinator left today to go to Furman. He's pretty good defensive coordinator.
And I think the offensive line coach may be headed somewhere.
To Army.
Yeah,
I heard.
According to David Shelton.
See. So that's a big shakeup there for a program that is on the uptick and has a lot of good players coming back, depending on what's going to happen with potential penalties or sanctions or anything.
Well, we said that Chadwell was on the move somewhere with the record he had. We just didn't think it was this move.
Well, you know, when the Coastal offensive coordinator left to go to Temple, and he was excellent at Coastal.
Yes.
They think he'll be a head coach one day. That opened the door for the kind of set the wheels in motion. And we know Coach Moglia runs the show over there with his football program, and he probably saw this. He probably has admired what Jamie Chadwell has done, considering what he has to work with at Charleston Southern compared to what they have at Coastal. And Charleston Southern has been every bit as good head-to-head with Coastal ever since those two have been playing each other. So he probably admired from a distance what Jamie was doing over there with limited funds and limited resources at Charleston Southern. Far from the start of college baseball practice, and Perfect Game issued its top 25 today, and USC comes in at number 5, Clemson at number 19, and Coastal Carolina at number 24. TCU is ranked number 1, followed by LSU, Florida State, and Florida.
No respect for the Chanticleers. It is pretty cool in South Carolina right now. We have the best team in college baseball and the best team in college football at the same time. No pressure on the basketball programs in our state.
Let's pick it up, guys. Newberry seniors Romello Doctor and Jaquil Oden going to play in the 5th annual Dream Bowl. This is a
dream big,
a football game featuring some of the top talent from D1, FCS division, and D2 and D3. And they're going to play
get
this.
Back to calling every like D1.
I'd be fine with me, you know. Anyway, I forgot to ask Dan Rad. The last thing I meant to ask him was, do you get expelled? No, do you get expelled from the committee when your team wins the championship?
Should.
You know?
Yeah.
I think he's got 1 year left. It's a 4-year rotation. I think he's got 1 year left because this will be the 4th year of the championship coming up. Excuse me. So who do we think is going to play for the championship in Atlanta in 2018?
Oh, Alabama. Then who?
You think Alabama clearly?
Yeah, I'd pick Alabama.
Do you give Clemson any chance of getting back to the national championship game next year?
I mean, I give them 18-1 odds.
Is that what they are?
Yeah,
18-1.
Alabama's 3-1, by the way.
Let's be different.
2 teams in the ACC and Clemson's division have better odds. Florida State and Louisville both have better odds.
How about Southern Cal? And
Michigan?
Michigan. Southern Cal, Michigan. Yeah. Ohio State changing some things up on their coaching staff. See if they can fix some things that Clemson exposed. All right, that'll do it. Thank you for being with us. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.